I'm glad I wore a clean shirt.
Hey, look. I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you. This tank top may not stay on. It might be topless Thursday out here at the Herf if it gets much warmer. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Hey, he has gone topless before on Instagram.
I believe it.
Hey, and on a couple of podcasts.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, this is a family show.
Yeah.
Put your top back on.
I was on a podcast called Children of the 80s with Jim and Lindsay, and my blood sugar dropped on me, and I was smoking a big old powerful Maduro cigar, and I was sweating like a sinner in church. We'll say that. And Oklahoma sun was just beating down on me, and I said, man, I'm like a couple of those waitresses at the Boar's Nest. I'm topless. We were talking about the Dukes of Hazzard stuff.
At the Boar's Nest.
Hey, wow. And welcome to everybody who's watching on Rumble and YouTube. Wow. I'm Sean, that's Justin, and this is Mr. Jeremy from the Rumors Are True podcast. We're about to get into our latest episode here, and we're going to start it in 3, 2, 1. This episode of Smokin Sounds is brought to you by 4 Johns Apparel. Follow them on Instagram at 4 Johns Apparel, or find them on the World Wide Web at the number 4johnsapparel.com. Use code SMOKIN15 at checkout. Woohoo! It's Smokin Sounds, the ultimate podcast for cigar and pipe enthusiasts and those looking to embark on a journey where smoke intertwines with sound. What's up, everybody? I'm Sean, one of the hosts of Smokin Sounds, and joining me is a man who needs no introduction, the only man to ever be kicked out of the Donut Distillery. It's Justin.
That sucks.
and it was that same guy who said the cook has quit. Here are your money. You get out. He follows me every restaurant, every buffet I go to. It's always that same guy. He said, cook quit. You get out. Here's your money.
Yeah, they give you your money back after you've cleared out the all you can eat, right?
Yeah, because it's worth it to them just to get rid of me.
Hey, listen, thank you so much to our good friend Mike Lewis. You guys know him from For Love Not Lisa, the band 10 Killer Puller. This is his latest single. It's under just Mike Lewis. It is Regret. It is originally done by New Order. So thank you so much to him. And we'll play some of Billy and 10 Killer and Mike and maybe some Spoken in Tongues. But joining us all the way from Jacksonville, Florida, from your favorite podcast and my favorite podcast, it's Mr. Jeremy from the Rumors Are True podcast. Jeremy, how are you, sir? Thank you so much for taking out the time to visit with a couple of knuckleheads out here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Duval. I don't know if you guys watch football, but that's what we do down here.
Oh, okay. So now you're in Jacksonville, right?
I am. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
Because I was just down there recently, and I went into, is it Second Wind Cigars?
Second Wind. Yeah.
And what, man, Joe was the guy. I met Joe there, and they were just awesome people down there. And so, yeah, I was very glad to pop in and hope we get back down there soon, because we would love to. It's a beautiful little lounge. They had some chairs just calling my name. I was like, man, I would love to sit down and record an episode down here. And they had a great selection. And
they probably let you. Yeah, it's a cool spot.
Yeah, it is a cool spot. So, well, Jeremy, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, we like to do something here on Smokin Sounds, and we call it the. Well, that's a round of applause for you for being here with. We call it the Smokin Sounds Smoking Report, brought to you by Clarion Cigars and Pipes in Pennsylvania. They are on Instagram at Clarion Cigar Pipe. We love John and all the guys there. They always are big supporters of Smokin Sounds. And so, yeah, check out Clarion Cigar and Pipes on Instagram. So we will start with you, our guest, Jeremy. Have you been smoking anything that you would like to report on?
I am a budget smoker. So I like to go to Costco. And I like to buy the 10-pack of Rocky Patels, which one of them I'm smoking right now, the Edge Habano. So
okay.
I'm really like Rocky Patel, and I've been smoking a lot of Drew Steak lately, which is my favorite. The Nika Rustica and the Undercrown. So those are my two favorites.
Oh yeah, Undercrown's
good.
Yeah, Undercrowns are great. We love Drew Estate. We've got our local rep, or the guy that reps for us, Lance. He's fantastic. I love their Herrera Esteli line. But yeah, Drew Estate, they just make some, obviously Justin loves the Deadwoods. And
Fat Bottom baby.
That's right. But yeah, no, those are great. We got a gentleman, Matthew. He's the budget cigar smoker on Instagram. He's been with us since day one, and I love that he's always posting all these different budget cigars and stuff. John has the Thunder Kiss. It's a budget cigar. We always talk about Foundations, the Charter Oaks, and the Rocky Patel Edges. Those are great. I had I was actually in one of our local spots with Rocky Patel Pat, and I smoked the Maduro Edge, and that was the first time, because that used to be Justin's undisputed heavyweight champion.
Absolutely,
and it was wonderful. Yeah. So, Justin, what you got, brother?
Well, I don't have a lot of new stuff. That vanilla blend, whatever it was that we got from Nashville. Remember those?
Oh yeah, from Knucklehead.
Yeah. So smoked that with a real unique vanilla flavor. If you're a pipe smoker, vanilla is like, another vanilla Cavendish, blah, blah, blah. This one is really unique. I don't have too much experience with it. You
know what? I think David over there at Knucklehead Nation Cigars, I think he actually sent me the photos of what was in there. So the vanilla black Cavendish, it's a top grade black Cavendish with a deeply rich vanilla flavor that approaches a butterscotch-like aroma.
Yes.
Never overpowering and smokes easy.
Absolutely. And for these kind of warmer days coming up, and you're outside, and I want to talk about this too. Outside listening to the baseball game on the Sirius XM.
Damn, opening day and the Cubs already getting their ass whipped.
I know it. So my Royals play tomorrow night. Anyway, we'll get into that a little bit, but a perfect blend for that kind of thing. That's kind of the newest one I have, because honestly, I have a lot of stuff, but I have to always go back and make sure you can actually get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Because it has really cut back, and a lot of the blends have been cut back. So anyway, so if you're in that Nashville area and get over there. Can't remember. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's Nashville Cigars.
Nashville Cigars.
Nashville Cigars.
If you're
David
there,
Knucklehead and Nation Cigars sent that to you.
Definitely, if you're there, get the vanilla. The vanilla, it's more caramel than vanilla, especially in the aroma. Get the other two, the front porch we talked about last time.
Yep.
And then there was the Green Hills that I had reported on.
What did you think? So the front porch, it's a Golden Virginia tobacco for when you're doing the front porch thing. It's enhanced with a silky, creamy vanilla note with a smooth, lightly sweet flavor. And then the Green Hills is a golden Cavendish blend with a hint of fire-cured black tobacco. The oldest and number one selling blend in the U.S. One taste, and you'll see why.
Yeah, Green Hills in some ways is its own thing, but I will say, as I mentioned on the last time, front porch. Actually, I got more of kind of a woodsy, kind of more earthy tone out of it.
Okay.
But anyway, again, it's just everyone's palate, and then again, what did you have to eat? What did you have to drink? That kind of stuff.
Because it's eat, drink, smoke. Tony Katz.
All right, so Sean, what you got?
So listen, I don't really have anything new in the ways of, well, actually, I've been smoking a lot of the Tatawahe just released their 2003 Kanuhu. I think I'm saying that. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's their Connecticut broadleaf, and it's a fantastic cigar. But more so, I wanted to talk about, because we've got PCA coming up. Cavalier Cigars is going to mark their 10th anniversary with a release at the PCA. Hey, our good friends over at Artista are going to have a couple of new announcements, Justin.
Wow.
And Don Emanuel, they are going to be debuting the Sun and Moon. It's going to be a limited release at the PCA. They have invited us over to the booth. But the biggest thing I wanted to check out or talk about is, you guys know how much we love Cigar Bro Humidors. So I was just speaking with the CEO of Cigar Bro Humidors, and landing on our front porch today we are getting the new fresh boxes from Cigar Bros, and it's going to be, so be watching our social medias, because we're going to be Monday on when this releases, you'll start seeing a lot of that content. They sent us these fresh boxes. I got Justin the Dominicana Deadwood Grills.
Yeah.
And so they come packed with the cigars, and when you run out, you can jump right back on freshboxcigars.com and just reorder. Do you want some Cohibas? Do you want some H. Upman? Do you want the blackened? They've got a whole list of cigars. So, but yeah, so that's kind of really more than what I've been smoking that I wanted to talk about was this fresh box from Fresh Box Cigars and the people over at Cigar Bros. And what we're smoking today, we'll tell you that here in a second. So if you guys don't have anything else, we'll slide out of the Smokin Sounds Smoking Report, brought to you by Clarion Cigar and Pipes up there in Pennsylvania. Check them out on Instagram at Clarion Cigar and Pipe. So, again, we've got Mr. Jeremy here from the Rumors Are True podcast. And right before we get into hold on, I got to set this box down. So, actually, the wind here in Tulsa blew my band away. I was going to tell them what we're smoking here, Justin. So, I got notes. So, I love how we're smoking another one from Nomad Cigars.
Uh-huh.
And this was sent to us by our dear friend Christopher Chad Wise. This is Nomad's Burnt End's secret recipe. Christopher Chad Wise sent this to us. You can follow him on Instagram at CCW2472. Now he's known as the Smoking Silverback. So listen, all you vegans, you can set this one out. I'd love to take credit for that opening line, but this is for beef eaters, the unapologetically carnivores, those that sit atop the food chain. Heck, a barbecue brisket and a borderline irresponsible pour of bourbon are our idea of a balanced diet. So you can tell why Burnt Ends has been a pet project of ours from the very beginning. And the secret part of this blend is a very tightly guarded secret. And for good reason. These tobaccos were sourced from places we technically shouldn't have access to, through connections that don't show up on paper.
Oh my God!
Hope it's not the cartel again. You don't get the recipe, you just get the flavor, and it hits like contraband. Burnt End secret recipe is flat out beyond description, and trust me, I've got the vocabulary and the smoke-soaked soul to back it up. But even I can't string together enough words to do this cigar justice. It's that damn good. Burnt End secret recipe was scheduled to be a full Ezra Zion release, but they only had enough tobacco to make a micro batch of 380 cigars. Burnt End secret recipe is a 6.3 by 50 Toro. Wrapper is only thing we know, and it's a sun-grown Corojo.
Uh-huh.
Binder and filler tobaccos will remain a closely guarded secret. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to be smoking is the Burnt Ends secret recipe from Nomad Cigars. And Jeremy's told us he's smoking the Rocky Patel Edge Habano. Sorry, Justin.
So Jeremy, long, and I've never lived it down. I was talking about Habano wrapper. I was like, I kept calling it habanero. All right, so Jeremy, say so. All right, so let's get into you, man. So the playlist we're playing today is Apple helped me put it together. I won't take credit for it. It's the Tooth and Nail Records playlist, apparently highlighting many of the artists from that. So Jeremy, let's start there. We'll work our way forward. Just kind of give us briefly like your affiliation with Tooth and Nail, and then kind of where you went from there.
Yeah, so I grew up. My dad was a pastor, so I kind of got lumped in with only being able to listen to Christian music for most of my life. Well, I shouldn't say most of it. Probably, I don't know, a quarter of my life, I should say, until I got a little older and started to branch out and explore new kind of music. But Tooth and Nail for me was it's a gateway. It was a gateway for me to experience like hardcore punk rock, indie rock, alternative shoegaze, that whole world. And to this day, it's still such a massive part of my life. I started my podcast to kind of talk with a lot of those artists, which has branched out to a bunch of other bands that are not affiliated with Tooth and Nail. So it really is it's been that door that's open for me. And I this past year, was lucky and honored and blessed. They had a box set that came out last year for the 30-year anniversary, and a couple of my episodes were transcribed in it, and I got
wow.
And I got a thank you in it, and I got names in the credits. It was I'm 47, and 16-year-old me, if you told me that would ever happen, I would have lost my mind, which I still almost lost my mind at this age. But yeah, man, just a big fan of Brandon Ebel, the owner, and Jim Worthen. He's a VP there and kind of the money guy. And I talk to them quite often, really blessed to know them now. And yeah, man, they've accepted me into this world of tooth and nail, I guess, somewhat. I don't work for them, but I'm in constant contact for the most part. So
okay, excellent. So all right, so now of course this is Smokin Sounds, and we have been working. A lot of this year has been heavy on the cigars. So I've been really just chasing Sean around with a with a baseball bat. So we got to put the sounds back in Smokin Sounds. So I appreciate. So
that's why I thought Jeremy would be the perfect guest, man. He's going to put that sounds back in it for us.
Right. So now let's lean back the other way just a little bit. So you're also big. Are you a cigar connoisseur? Are you kind of new to the hobby? And what kind of stuff do you like?
Yeah, so I would say new, as in probably the last, I don't know, 7 years, maybe 6-7 years. I kind of discovered it through some friends. I actually went to a Bible study that we had at a cigar bar. Actually, it was Second Wind.
Oh, amen to that. That's what I need.
It used to be called Holy Smokes, and so they had, they had a Bible study there, and I would go there, and some friends of mine, and I started kind of getting the bug, and then my father-in-law, who's a dear, part of my life. He's a big cigar smoker as well. So we've kind of bonded over that in the last, 6 or 7 years. And I've probably smoked a little too much, to be honest with you. My wife's like, you're a chain smoker.
Imposterous.
Yeah. I'd say 6 to 7 years. I wouldn't call myself a connoisseur, but I would call myself a lover. And I smoke, usually try to smoke on the weekends is kind of the goal. That doesn't always.
That's a good goal.
Obviously, today's a Thursday, but I just try to. Yeah, and I try to do not more than 2 a day on the weekends, which is
so. What kind of stuff do you generally turn to? What kind of stuff do you generally?
Drew Estate. I like I said, I was Drew Estate. I find the factory smokes are like the cheapo ones. I love smoking those quite often. That's probably like my ones that I have the most of because they're the cheapest. But like I said, Drew Estate, Rocky Patel. I like Punch cigars. I like those egg rolls. Those are great.
I've never had.
And then I like. I smoked one recently. Oliva. I think it's Black Swan. I think it's what it's called, or something like that. I smoked that recently with my wife's uncle recently, and I really liked that. So I started kind of looking into that as well. But yeah, I'm really not a picky smoker. I'll smoke really anything, but those are the kind of the mainstays for me.
Okay.
So when you are smoking the factory smokes, do you lean towards like the Connecticut's, the Maduros, the
Maduros? Maduros for sure. That's probably my go-to. Every once in a while, I'll get a Connecticut, but I would say 96% is, and it's usually if they're out of the Maduros, that's when I buy the other ones.
So have you ever tried the sweets?
I have, and I get those every once in a while, which is ironically here, they're actually about 30 cents cheaper typically where I buy my cigars than the Maduros, which makes sense, but they're great. I love them.
And CAO has some budget, the surplus. Is that right, Justin?
Yeah.
Those are kind of in line with the factory smokes they're supposed to be pretty good little budget cigars as well.
CAOs? I don't think I've had those.
Oh, CAOs. And now I got to know them a long time ago with their pipe tobacco line, and then their flavored cigars like the Irish Cream or Eileen's Dream and the Cherry Bomb. But then I got to know their cigar line.
Yeah, the Surplus is kind of a newer line, and they're budget friendly. So if next time you're in Second Wind, check it out. Ask them if they have those, because they run about the same prices as the factory smokes.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely check that out. I heard one earlier. You mentioned the Charter Oaks. I've had a couple of those there.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, those which are good. And actually, there's a place here called Tobacco Cove that rolls they have a roller that helps them, and they have their own kind of no labeled cigars that are fairly big, and they're about $3-4. Really get a good smoke out of them. I get those every once in a while.
Nice.
But down in St. Augustine, which is about 30-40 minutes from me, there's like a ton of cigar shops and rollers, and then Tampa, like Ybor City's not far.
Oh yeah,
right, 3 hours. I mean, that's a mecca. So I definitely am around a lot of cigars in Florida for sure.
Well, you can't, if you're down there, of course, don't overlook the West Tampa Red.
Oh yeah, that's a great cigar.
From in that Miami Cigars.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the West Tampa Red is from West Tampa Cigars.
West Tampa. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rick Rodriguez owns that. Miami Cigars is the one that does the Outcast. Justin.
Oh. Okay.
See, you got too many brands rolling around.
I got too many brands.
Too many smokes.
So hey, man, but try an Outcast too. It because it has like this. It's kind of more like it's like a Deadwood sort of. That's kind of the genre that it's in. But really a great cigar, and I to this day I almost always call them the Wildcat cigars because their label looks like you ever seen the Black Cat fireworks firecrackers, a pack of those.
Oh yeah.
So the Outcast, I almost called Wildcat.
Yep,
yeah.
See,
so Outcast has their little logo looks like the Black Cat from the Black Cat firecrackers.
Listen, I forgot to read this part. I'm telling you, straight burn a bridge, fake a funeral, sell your damn golf clubs if you have to. Just don't miss out on these burnt end secret recipes. These are damn good cigars, Justin, and they're pairing.
Those sound good.
Yeah,
burnt ends rules.
Yeah.
That's probably such a good flavor.
And there's even so we'll talk about these cigars a little
go
bit.
ahead.
A little review. So the very first thing you notice about these is that there is kind of an unexpected sweetness, like from a barbecue. I mean, it doesn't taste like barbecue. It's not like we're smoking like hickory sauce or anything, but there is kind of this sweetness over this great cigar, and of course, it pairs great with this Habano wrapper.
No, it's a Corojo wrapper. He's got the Habano.
Hey guys, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Hey, that Yingling's already kicking in over there, buddy.
So Jeremy, I did, for the podcast, it's strictly for the podcast.
The podcast.
I started day drinking for this cigar. So anyway,
nice.
You better say thank you to Bison Cooler for that cool Smokin Sounds beer holder you got going on
I got
there.
The bottle holder from Bison Coolers and just all kinds of stuff. But anyway, so this burnt end is, again, it's not a barbecue flavor, but it's like a cigar, acting like a burnt end. A little bit of sweetness, a little bit of earth, a little bit of but still very mild, very flavorful.
And you know what I really liked about it is it had the exposed foot, so we got to taste that wrapper right off the light, and it smokes like a meaty cigar, like you feel like you're having a meal, especially when you kind of chomp around the smoke in your mouth. First kind of entering the second third here, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Can't thank Chad Wise enough for sending these to us, but wanted to kind of circle back to music real quick, Jeremy, because my exposure, or I guess my gateway into Tooth and Nail, obviously was MXPX. I think that might be a lot of people's kind of first introduction into Tooth and Nail. But in '96, I have a real good friend. His name's Mike Bellows. He's out of Atlanta. He's got a great company down there called Escapes, and he he ran a Christian nightclub called the Pterodactyl, and so a lot of
I remember that name. Yeah.
Wow. So a lot of Christian bands. So when we were down there for the Olympics, we got to see 90 Pound Wuss and MXPX, and then he worked real closely with Grey Dot Records down there. So we got to see Third Day, and we got to hang out with
Vanderpool. I know a couple of those guys. Yeah. I had some friends that were on that label.
They had a band called Bone Dance that was kind of Rage Against the Machine-ish, and so that was kind of my introduction into Tooth and Nail Records, and then come to find out, Mike Lewis and Billy Billy was in a band that was signed to Tooth and Nail, right?
Blenderhead, yeah.
Yeah,
Blenderhead.
yeah.
Okay.
And
I couldn't think what
it was called.
Because let me lean up here. So
Justin
because
started that Yingling got him rocking.
I'm
He was rocking away from the mic.
So because I was thinking, because I kept thinking speaking in tongues, but then I knew spoken in tongues, but I knew like the blender, whatever it was. I couldn't think. I knew it was blender something, but I knew that was earlier.
Yeah, and it's funny is because I think Billy.
Yeah, that was very early.
Yeah, and I think Billy took on like I'm going to say A&R position with Tooth and Nail, but he actually didn't. Yeah. He helped sign the Agony Scene, right, to Tooth and Nail or to a sub. Label.
I think so. I think Roy Culver might have done that, but I know Billy was there and he was definitely high up. I feel like he was probably, I would say, second or third in charge at some point in terms of like A&R and kind of facilitating the label. He's great. He's fantastic. Good dude.
And that's so great because Mike R.R. Williams and you've talked to him about his solo stuff, and you've talked to him about the Agony Scene, which I think, if my memory serves me correct, they're trying to put something out pretty soon with the Agony Scene.
Yeah, I think they have a new record he's working on, is what he mentioned to me, if I remember correctly. And I know he's got his side project. And did he just put out a song? There's another guy out that way in Tulsa.
Bo Jennings.
Bo Jennings, I think is his name.
Yeah, Bo Jennings.
Yeah, and he just added me today on Instagram, and I listened to him. I really liked it. It was good. Good.
So I had a friend, Chris.
So, Mike's great.
So I had a friend, Chris, here. He had Black Mesa Records, and he had Bo Jennings, and then Bo Jennings and the Tigers signed to Black Mesa, and he had R.R. Williams before. Unfortunately, Black Mesa is no more, but he was promoting a bunch. That's how we kind of got introduced to Mike and all of them, and love his music.
That's really cool.
And it's funny because my beautiful wife, she loves R.R. Williams, as she should. But we went and seen him live, and I played her Agony Scene, and she was willing to bet me that she was like, "There's no way that's R.R. singing." I said, "Yes, babe." I said, I had to get Mike on the phone and have him convince her that, that's me. I mean, you talk about different ends of the spectrum between his solo stuff and the Agony Scene.
Absolutely.
I don't see how his voice holds up after
held up. Yeah. Well, and it just goes to show you how extremely talented he is to go from diverse styles of music and just be so good at both of them. I think that's just an artist at heart,
Yeah.
Just somebody that's just got that gift.
And if I'm correct, I believe he started in the Agony Scene as their bass player. And then
I think so.
They were having a hard time keeping a lead singer or finding one that then Mike said, "Hey, I'll do it." And the rest is history. They were a pretty big deal, man, in the early 2000s from what my research I've done.
Absolutely. They were on like, I feel like Metal Blade or like huge labels. Like
Metal Blade.
Metal labels that were like 10 times the size of Tooth and Nail. I think it's Metal Blade. I can't remember right offhand, but it's one of those amazing old school metal labels that's just got pedigree,
Yeah, because I think you're right. I think it was Metal Blade because that's the same label that first signed Metallica.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Because Eddie Trunk was worked as their A&R guy, and he helped get Metallica signed because the gentleman that was the owner of Metal Blade passed away. I'm going to say within the past year or two, and Metallica flew Eddie Trunk out to speak at his funeral and all this stuff because he was such a big part of getting that all started. So, and you might fact check me on that, but I think I'm right on that. So, well, let me ask you this, Jeremy. Easter's coming up, so this episode will be out the week of Easter. Do you guys have any big plans for Easter? Do you have any special traditions you do for Easter or anything like that?
Yes and no. We typically go to my wife's parents' house and have this awesome Mediterranean meal with lamb and all this stuff, and it's really fun and cool. But as of last night, my wife booked an Airbnb in the mountains of North Carolina, and her and I, she's obsessed right now with what are they called? Morel, what are they called? Morel, what am I blanking out? Mushrooms, sorry.
Oh,
Morel
yeah.
mushrooms.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude.
And she's obsessed with it. And so we're going to go to North Carolina next Thursday to Sunday, and we got a little. I have a CPAP machine, so I told her I cannot sleep in a tent if I don't like.
Yeah.
I just need. There's no way I can sleep. So we got a glamping area where we are gonna kind of pseudo camp, and we're gonna go on hikes and look for morels. And that's literally last night at 10:30 at night we booked it.
Well, listen, you better take some gloves with you, because if I understand about those mushrooms, they like to grow under manure patties and stuff like that. If those are the right ones I'm thinking of.
Ooh, that sounds gross.
But
they're ones that look like coral reef.
Yes,
like they're just crazy looking. But yeah, she's completely obsessed with it. So that's what we're doing this year. This is the only year we've went away for Easter. Typically, we just kind of go to church, hang out with the fam, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, my wife tried to get into those a couple of years back, but people that know where to find them, they keep that like it's like
that's literally what we said last night.
Knox. Yeah,
we watched videos on YouTube, and they were like, "Where is this?" And she's like, "I bet you they don't say it, so they know where they are." And that was like, absolutely. They said Blue Ridge is a huge area, so that's kind of why we're headed to North Carolina, but.
Yeah, and there's only certain types of year that you can and people will pay big money for
March to May, I think, something like that.
Yeah,
is what we read.
See, Justin, you didn't know I knew that much about mushrooms.
Oh, I'm surprised. The only thing I know is like cream of mushroom soup from Campbell. That's about as close as to mushroom. Or no, well, now if they show up on my Yeti pizza, okay.
Listen,
but.
That's better than I thought. I thought you were going to say if they show up on your drug screen, the mushrooms, but that's a different subject. That's a different podcast, right?
Hey.
They don't call him Pipe Dude Love for no reason.
Oh, Jeremy.
Somebody cue up the Pink Floyd.
Breathe in the air.
He's about to be on the dark side of the mushroom. The Pipe Yoda lives on the dark side of the mushroom.
Oh, man.
I'm going to kill Raul for all these crazy nicknames between him and Larry, Mr. Ash, the Big Wolf. But now I call him Wolfie Flair because he's starting to be styling and profiling like Ric Flair because I tell him the line to Wolf Mountain is a mile long.
Yeah. If you want to ride Wolf Mountain.
If you want to ride Wolf Mountain.
So
at the Wolfpack Cigar Club, it's a mile long.
All right. So Jeremy, so we're going to switch topics a little bit here. So of course, baseball season has just now kicked off, and like Sean was saying earlier, his Cubs are already getting beaten.
Dude, let's do a live check-in, shall we? While you're talking,
okay.
Justin.
So my Royals start tomorrow night at 6:15. And so now, are you into sports at all, or baseball in particular?
I'm into sports. I'm into NFL and college football. I'm a big Florida State fan. I've been a Florida State fan since I was a little kid. And I'm a Jaguars fan, which I know isn't the greatest thing, but last year they were good, so I'm really looking forward to this next year.
Listen, they've been
I'm not a huge baseball fan. Yeah, they've had a couple good years.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about the future for sure. But I did play Little League Baseball, and I know baseball. I enjoy baseball. I kind of lost touch with it for a while. I enjoy going to the games. I prefer going to the games than watching them on TV personally. Get a hot dog and a beer and just kind of hang out. But I did play for the Royals when I was a kid. That was my team. And so I was a Kansas City Royals fan growing up. And I did live in Wichita for a little bit, Wichita, Kansas. And so I've been to a couple Kansas City Royals games. I got to see, this is kind of cool, I got to see Bo Jackson, George Brett Saberhagen, and a lot of those guys play a game. And it was so cool back then. It was probably early 90s, maybe late 80s, early 90s. So that was really cool. That was an epic. I loved going to the stadium. It was really cool, the stadium in Kansas City. So I would say if I had to pick a team, it's the Royals. And I just peek from a distance and kind of, if they get in the playoffs, I kind of watch a little bit more. But I'm more of a football fan. But I think it's just, we don't have a baseball team here, so it's not as, it's not as prevalent here.
Yeah, because you guys would either have to be Braves fans or Marlins fans, I think, right?
Yeah, a lot of my
Braves
friends are huge Braves fans. Yeah, a lot of guys that I know are Braves fans here.
especially if you grew up in that Jacksonville area in the late 90s, you had all those great Braves teams with Maddox and Glavins and all of them, and Dave Justice and all of them.
Chipper Jones is from Jacksonville. Yeah. He's from
Listen,
Florida.
I've been to Jacksonville a couple times because my son's down there, and Jacksonville loves the Jaguars. They love Trevor Lawrence down there. I tell you what,
They do. He can get away with murder.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, and they should, because he, especially last year, I thought he did so well as compared.
You know what I think it is? I think it's the coaching. Liam Cohen is a badass, number one, and he has got. I feel like the city loves him just as much as Trevor, and I feel like he just brought the best out of Trevor last year. He really coached him differently, and I think it paid dividends. And I think next year is just going to be explosive. I'm hoping, at least.
Yeah, because they had Doug Peterson, I think, was their head coach for a while.
Yeah, and I liked him. I liked him for a bit, but he's just the old guard, and I don't mean that wrong. I think it's just a young man's game now, and like all these teams are going after the younger coordinators and coaches, and it's a young man's league. And I think you just kind of got to get it in that zone or that mindset of just changing things up, not like the old way.
That's right. I put a little Spoken in Tongues on underneath us here, Justin, from Billy Powers and them. This one's called Bullet that we're playing. But yeah, Jacksonville is a great city. Their traffic is absolutely horrible, but it's a great city. And
not compared to Orlando and Atlanta. Those are like the worst.
Atlanta, man, when I was down there, I'll tell you, when we went down for the Olympics, I'm from a rural town in Oklahoma, and Mike, we get out on the highway, and there's 8 lanes on each side because they had just expanded everything, for the Olympics. And I was like, you have 8 lanes and we're still sitting in traffic for an hour and a half. It was horrible.
Atlanta is so bad now. I go up there quite often for work, and I was up there last week actually, and all the suburbs have horrendous traffic as well. So that tells you something. Like it's, you can't get anywhere without sitting in traffic for at least 45 minutes to an hour. And that's just like in the small, suburbs of it. And I wouldn't even say small, but just, the pockets of Atlanta. But man, downtown, it's brutal.
Oh man. Yeah. We stayed downtown when we were, in 2024, when we were driving down to Jacksonville. We stopped in Atlanta on our way down so I could see Mike and Jim and Lindsay from Children of the 80s and stuff. And we stayed at the DoubleTree, the Embassy Suites downtown, and everything's one way, and I missed the turn to the hotel, and I was like, we might as well just park on the other side of the road and walk over there because it's going to take forever with this traffic.
Yes, yeah. I would agree with that. I would agree.
Because even in '96, Mike was part owner of a club there in Marietta, Georgia, and it's called the Strand. It was kind of like the Brady Theater here in Tulsa.
I know that is.
Yeah. And so listen, Justin, the claim to fame for the Strand is REM recorded their first album there. It's called REM Does the Strand.
Huh.
And I actually got to meet Michael Stipe down there because he managed a band called Trinket, and they played at the Strand.
Oh, I know Trinket.
Yeah.
Look at that, man.
Hey, look. And when Trinket's tour bus pulled up, me and Mike were like, how cool would it be if Michael Stipe came? First dude off of the bus was Trinket. Or off Trinket's tour bus was Michael Stipe.
Wow. They played in Jacksonville in the late 90s, and I was managing a band here in town called Smell of Wonder that was an incredibly gifted band that didn't really go anywhere. But they opened for Trinket. I remember that specifically at the Moto Lounge in Jacksonville. So...
yeah, and Mike used to have some great bands come through. The Pterodactyl, Common Children played. They were a great band. I don't know whatever.
Have you heard his new project?
I haven't.
Mark Bird. It's called Hammock. It's like one of my favorite groups. It's ambient music, kind of like music that would be on a movie soundtrack, kind of that type of epic swirls and everything like that. It's so good. Incredible.
Yeah. Okay, guys, you heard it here first. When you get on Apple Music, look up Hammock.
That's right. And then Porcupine Trees played down there. They played the Strand. They didn't play the Pterodactyl. They were a little bit bigger than the Strand Room. But I tell you what, man, Mike and Yori and Tom, those were just some of the nicest guys when MXPX played down there. Yeah. They were on their Life in General tour. And Chick Magnet had blown up. And those guys, I mean, when they pulled up, they were driving this old beater, this brown van, and they were just the nicest guys. And Mike was tattooing on Tom. It was just, I was like, dude, I want a tattoo. He still owes me awesome. Mike still owes me one of the little punk rock guys. He promised me, and I remember this from '96. Mike, if you're listening,
Punk.
That's right.
It's
yep.
30 years later.
So two things on MXPX. The first thing, the Pocanatcha Punk logo you're just talking about. The guy who designed that, John Neeson, is a friend of mine. He's the guy who did the Tooth and Nail logo, and he did my logo for my podcast.
And I saw that your logo made it into a magazine or something.
Yes, and that's the one that he did, and I'm really honored that he did it. It turned out perfectly. That's the first thing. And second thing is, I actually got to when I was living in Wichita, I actually booked shows for about 5 years, and I booked MXPX twice. So it was really cool to get to know them behind the scenes somewhat. I don't really keep in touch much. That was 20 something years ago, but it was really cool. It was awesome to be booking a band that I grew up loving. It was really awesome.
Oh yeah.
And I did get to see them. They played the Warehouse. God, that must have been late 90s, early 2000s. They played the
Warehouse was so good.
Yeah.
Such a good venue.
Yeah. And we had a little
middle
band,
of nowhere.
We had a little band here out of Tulsa. They were kids because they were younger than me at the time. And they were called Shamrock, and they were kind of like a 311, Incubus style band, and they were just fantastic. And but yeah, Tim just
I haven't heard that name.
Yeah,
since Flickr.
Wasn't that band Fillmore from that area too?
I believe so. Yeah.
I think they were from Tulsa. Yeah, they were a good band too.
But kind of going back to your Rumors Are True podcast, is it always just tooth and nail artists that you do, or do you just kind of or Christian artists in general, or?
No, actually, it's not. It's I started the podcast. Really, there was no agenda to be all tooth and nail or all Christian. The agenda was the music that really influenced my life, which, like I told you earlier, Tooth and Nail was the gateway for me. So Gateway opened myself to other bands. I hate to use the term secular, but just bands that are, obviously not Christian. But I've had Jeff Schroeder on my podcast from the Smashing Pumpkins. I've had Jay Robbins from Jawbox. I don't know if you know who that is, but freaking legend in the punk rock world. I've had I've had probably 15 to 20 of my episodes are not, and there's about 5 to 10 more in the next couple months that are coming out that are not tooth and nail. So I'm trying to branch myself a little bit. I just signed yesterday with a podcast network called Pantheon Media Network, and they're actually considered the biggest music podcast network in the world. And so I just signed with them, and they're going to get me distro for my podcast. So I'm hoping that'll open up a bunch more doors, because I'm not all about wanting to just put myself and pigeonhole myself in a little world. I love that world. That world's my bread and butter currently, but I definitely want to reach out and branch out in terms of music that I love or have been interested in or just have curiosity about.
So is there do you have a dream list of like artists that you would love to have on Rumors Are True?
I do. I would love to have Jason Martin from Starflyer 59, obviously Tooth and Nail band. I would love to have Jeremy Enoch from Sunny Day Real Estate, probably one of my
God, I love
bands.
Sunny Day Real Estate.
I know. Well, they're unbelievable band. I know some of these are probably unrealistic. Some of them I would love to have Billy Corgan. I'm a big Pumpkins fan.
Hey, he would talk.
I would love to have. That's right. He owns that wrestling company. Ken Andrews from Failure. I love that band. I would love to have him on. I think those are probably the main ones right off the top of my head. But I've had a couple bucket list guys so far. Jay Robbins, like I mentioned, and then this guy named Jeremy Chaitlin. He was in a band called Handsome and Jets Brazil. They were a 90s band. If you have not heard the Handsome record, it's a flawless post-hardcore record. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite records. And if you know, if you don't, you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those bands that you just, if you listen to it, you'll understand why they're fantastic. They never made it big, but they would put a record out that was flawless. And I'm just a big fan of it. I got to have him on, and he was incredible. So,
and Tulsa people, we got to put that is Handsome, not Hanson. We're not bopping here, even though we love the Hanson boys.
That's true. I forget they're from there.
That's that was my radio name when we did radio. I was Sean Hansen. I always said I was the fourth member of the Hansen family. Too bad that didn't catch on.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I'm so glad you brought up Sunny Day Real Estate. I can't remember which album it is of theirs that has kind of like the Weeble Wobble people on the front of it. That's one of my favorite albums.
Diary.
Yeah, Diary. That's it. Yep. And I owe all this to Mike Bellows because he introduced me to all these bands. He introduced me to Ben Folds 5, and when I was down there in '96, he just because awesome. we always listen to The Cure and Morrissey and all these, 9 Inch Nails, all these bands, but he started opening up my experience to all these new bands, and it was just awesome. Wilco and Modest Mouse and all those.
Yeah, great bands, absolutely. Yeah, Sunny Day Real Estate. It's funny. I don't know if you've ever heard a band called Poor Old Lou. I don't know. They're like a '90s Christian alternative band. So they were kind of like predecessors to like Tooth and Nail, and their guitar player, his name's Aaron Sprinkle. He was a producer for like Amberlin and that whole world of that 2000s. He did Acceptance, Amberlin, a couple other, like a ton more. Phenomenal producer. Anyway, I had him on the podcast, and I've had a couple other members from that band. And their original band before Poor Old Lou was called Tears for a King, which was Jeremy Enoch from Sunny Day Real Estate was in the band with them. And so it's kind of a small world in that aspect. So that's where I first discovered Jeremy Enoch was on one of their songs, and I fell in love with the band. And how stupid this sounds is at my age at 16, 17, when I discovered this, my middle name is Allen, Jeremy Allen, and I hated my name until I discovered Jeremy Enoch, and I realized he had a middle name of Allen. It's spelled the same way. And then I was like, I kind of love my name. So it's so stupid how my mind worked at that point. But it opened my world to like one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite bands. And, hearing it on that Christian label, it just, I don't know. It was just a weird, like, way to discover something cool. So,
okay. So I have a few questions about now.
Getting Pipe Yoda.
Yeah. I want to talk about, year 2000 was fantastic, but that was a quarter century ago. So where does one listen to? Is it just podcasts, whatever? Because it seems like particularly like Christian rock or and metal, which is I'm a big fan of. Go Impending Doom, and that genre. So it almost seems like Christian rock has no real outlet anymore. So you're interviewing guys in the industry. Kind of let's talk about that.
Yeah, I feel like I think that in the 2000s, like you mentioned, kind of really broke the gate down for a lot of Christian bands. Personally, you have like Under Oath selling 500,000 records, on Tooth and Nail, Solid State, and you have artists, like I mentioned, Amberlin, that's selling 200,000 records, and so I think it really broke the mold. And the Warped Tour was a big part of that, and I think the Respect card was big, and the fact that back in the day it was like, oh, a Christian band, why would you listen to that? But then you realize this is pretty damn good music, and it really doesn't matter. A lot of people might be offended or not into what their message is or what their lyrics are, but I think they probably enjoyed the music. Sorry, this guy's riding his motorcycle really loud.
We just had a truck. We just had a truck by here.
But yeah, I think it really broke down the barriers in the early 2000s to where now I feel like it is what it is. Music is what it is, and you like it or you don't. And I don't think there's really a defining line. I mean, I'm sure there's some artists that are like, we're strictly a Christian band, or we're strictly, a band that wants to, have a ministry or talk about God or whatever. And that's great. That's awesome. But I think in this day and age of Spotify, like you can get on a playlist and be somebody that's not intending to be on that playlist, and you blow up, and it's like, cool. It's just a song that we wrote 20 years ago at a time, and they might not even believe that now. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of, it's an open playing field, I feel like, at this point.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, while we're kind of talking here, I was gonna see if I could find this band that I say that, but DC Talk was my first introduction to Christian music. I don't know if you remember them or not. You heard of them?
I do. They were massive.
Absolutely. Yeah, they were one of the biggest ones. And,
they were the biggest one, I feel like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, So really, the bands just find their way on Spotify or like Apple Music, stuff like that nowadays.
Apple Music, yeah. YouTube's a huge market for a lot of bands. I feel like the algorithms, everything nowadays. Getting pumped out. You listen to a certain band and you discover other bands through. Hey, you might like this band type of thing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I just feel like in this day and age, this is in the palm of your hand, and it just kind of is an eclectic mess of beautiful music,
Yeah, because it seemed like back, there's not any. Well, I take that back because was it Toby Mac? He does a huge tour that seems to come through Tulsa every year.
Massive. He's bigger now than DC Talk was, to be honest with you. He's headlining arenas and stuff.
No, unfortunately, was it him who was involved in some kind of scandal or something like that?
No, that was Michael Tate. Yeah,
Michael Tate. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, two of the guys. I hate to say the black guy, but the black guy in the group is the one that had that issue. The other two guys, they're obviously no longer a group. I think they're all kind of in their own worlds, and two of them are, or one of them's not a believer anymore, and the other two, one of them went through what he's gone through, and Toby Mac's just crushing it.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's bizarre.
Sorry,
it's a really sad story.
Yeah.
And that's one thing with my podcast. I'll be up front. I don't really like to delve into like drama. It's funny because the podcast name is The Rumors Are True, but I'm really not looking for, really slandering type things. I really want a positivity conversation, something that's positive and people can take away joy from it and joy amidst the chaos, So to me, like if I were to ever talk to someone, I wouldn't be interested in saying, well, why did you do this? And why I'd really just like to know their heart and what, the music aspect of it.
Yeah. And I like that. I mean, and what I like about the Rumors Are True podcast is because I have been listening to your podcast and I do get introduced to a lot of these bands. Like I had heard of Hawk Nelson, but that interview you did with, his name escapes me, Jason, but that was just a phenomenal interview. And, I got to learn so much kind of behind the scenes stuff. And that's why I like that you do that with your podcast, that you feature. I think I don't even remember which band it was, but I texted you and I was like, dude, I started listening to this band and because of your podcast, and they were phenomenal. So I do love that you've been able to expose me to artists that I probably wouldn't have heard of other places, because there's not a lot of people that are covering a lot of these artists and stuff. And that's
awesome. That's the goal, man. That's honestly, like, I want music. I want people to listen to the music that's influenced me. And you know what? There's some bands I'm still learning about. I try to incorporate some newer bands in there, somewhat. But yeah, man, that's awesome. I love that you said that, because that means I'm doing something good and something we're really grateful that you said that. That's all.
And now are you just on YouTube, or you're on other platforms as well?
I'm on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Castbox, and a couple more. But now with this media network, I think, and I could be wrong, but I might be getting on some of the episodes might be getting on Sirius XM, and they're going to probably push my podcast to bigger platforms of sorts. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where it can go. Yeah, I'm really shocked. I actually reached out to them and gave them my stats and my numbers, and they were really impressed on what I've accomplished by myself. And I want to make it very clear that I have two friends, Jared Bowser and Wes Hill, who have really been the backbone of my podcast. I do a lot of the, interview, but Wes is the one that puts it all together and makes it sound pretty. And Jared's the one that makes the flyers, which I feel like gives myself, an outlet to look, visually awesome as well.
Yeah.
So those guys have helped me immensely, and I could not do this. This podcast wouldn't exist without those two individuals. And my friend Brian, who was previous to Wes, was doing it. He passed away 2 years ago. And he's the one that started the intro music. He created that, and just a huge part of my life that passed away. It was really devastating. But again, those guys have really kind of been behind the scenes guys that don't get enough credit. So I don't want to take all the credit.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was the other compliment I wanted to pay you, is your production quality is top notch, man. And you mentioned the flyers and stuff, and I love that because it kind of reminds me of the late 90s when you would go see a band, when they would put their flyers and stuff up. That's how you knew who was playing and stuff. And so I love that kind of nostalgic feel from your post and stuff. So
thank you.
I'm glad you brought that up. But so has not to make you single anybody out, but has there been one guest that you just just really was way more than you thought they would be that you had on the podcast?
Yes, there is one. I don't know if I want to say it because I don't want it to come back and bite me in the ass. But
okay.
There's been probably two that I'm like, oh, and again, I'm not into like slandering people, so I don't want to say who it is. I'll tell you off the record if that's cool.
Okay. No, hey, that's
great. I just I don't want everything to. I don't want someone to be like, well, you said this about me or whatever. But there's been a couple that have just been not awkward, but a little interesting and difficult to navigate. But
well, these are musicians, and musicians are just awkward people anyway. I mean, I've yet to really meet a musician that, was just like normal, just like stable. I've never really met that anyway. So I can.
They're definitely have a different way of thinking than a lot of people, which is cool because that's what makes them artists. Makes them different, and I think that's what's intriguing about a lot of these artists is. I don't think the way they think. I think similar to it, but I also have never been a musician. So I just really am intrigued by, artists in general and musicians primarily. But yeah, man, it's interesting and cool. And I would say 99% of it's been great.
So let me ask you this. Interviewing all these artists and, being in this scene, both Christian and beyond. Just as you sit back and think with your cigar there, where do you see the future of rock, of this kind of rock, and not in music in general, but what would you imagine would be the future of this scene?
I hate to say I don't know, but I do see. If you notice in 2026, there is countless bands, there are countless artists. Back in the 90s, there probably was the same, but there was just not a way to hear them. There was not a way to promote them. There was not a way to discover them. It was like a needle in a haystack. Now it's so prevalent, and it's a beautiful thing because it really gives an artist who, can be nobody one day and the next day be on a playlist and they're 200,000 followers or something absurd. Which is cool because you can build yourself overnight success somewhat. But yeah, I see it continuing the way it is. And I love Spotify. I love Apple Music. I wish they paid the artists more. I really do.
Yeah.
But I'm guilty of having Spotify in my pocket. Man, I do. It's easy. It's convenient. I love it. But yeah, I definitely feel like supporting the artists is a huge part of it. But I just see that people still doing their thing, getting their music out in various ways. And even if it's without a label or without management, being able to be successful. And like I said, it's really wide open now. So I don't see it really closing anytime soon. I see it continuing and just more and more artists each year and people coming out of their shell and just kind of being who they are musically. And I think it's really cool. I'm excited for the future. I definitely am an older guy. I prefer the old days and nostalgic part of it, but I also can enjoy the new stuff just as much. And my mind is blown by some of these bands. And I'm like, whoa, this is insane. So I think it's really cool. And I see the future just being bright.
So what do you think about the future? Because it seems like we're getting less and less live performances, plenty of videos, plenty of stuff like that. But it just seems like the live scene has just shrunk to, if you look at like all the tours that are going on this summer, they're pretty much all like the old artists, Def Leppard, Joan Jett, or who people like that. And so my only thing is I hope the live scene returns where it's just you and the band, no AI, no filters, just you and the band, and maybe it I hope maybe it returns more like a club scene or bar scene. Maybe not so much, arenas or stadiums. So have you noticed that too? Like the live aspect of it. Remember, the live show was the reason why they sold CDs. Some of you have to look that up. The reason why they sold CDs was to get you to go to the live show. That's where they really made their money, and I just don't see that now.
Yeah, I think it's difficult in 2026, and these are just observations and just assumptions on my part. But I know ticket prices are astronomical, but I also feel like that has a lot to do with the fact that they're not making money on the music. They're not selling records as much as they used to be. You used to sell 500,000 unless you're like Taylor Swift or Metallica or one of these artists that's going to sell a ton no matter what. But a lot of these artists, the prices are so high because they're not making money off of the product, if you will. And I think also too, a lot of these artists will do like, and the older you get, I think you're not wanting to be on the road as much, is my guess. And these like 2-3 week tours, or these like, spot tours where they do like a weekend in some areas and stuff. I think it's kind of the new norm for a lot of the older acts, like MXPX in particular. They don't tour a ton, but they do really well when they do fly out dates and all that stuff. So I think it's just a different model now than it was. But I do see a lot of these younger artists. I'm sure a lot of it is probably computer based. Unfortunately, they're writing these records, and they might not have the capability to put together a band, to take on, you're your own promoter now. Promoters are still there, but like now you sell yourself. And so I think that's difficult in a lot of ways, from my observation at least. But Jacksonville gets decent shows, Orlando gets amazing shows, Miami gets amazing shows, Atlanta gets incredible shows. So it's like, it's few and far between where I live, but I still feel like there's enough music going around. But I don't think it'll ever be the way it was. But who knows? I could be wrong.
And something you said earlier when you were talking about to your 16 or 17-year-old self. I mean, who would have thought when we were growing up that one day we would be part of the platform that gave these artists an outlet to get their music out to people, right? Because these artists, they want to come on these podcasts because that's a way for them to get people to hear their music. And we've been fortunate enough to have Ten Killer and R.R. Williams. We would love to have Andrew Vincent and a couple of other guys come on and perform, because this is a cigar and music podcast at the end of the day. But if you're not the Zach Bryans or, which I absolutely love, it's hard to get your music out in front of people nowadays because, I call it the TikTok generation. Everybody's attention span is about 30 seconds now, it seems like.
Yep.
And if you don't have that viral clip, then it's like, how do you get your music out? Because you're right. A lot of these guys now, where they used to be part of Tooth and Nail, or they used to be part of Sony or Capitol or Royal or whatever. Now they're recording everything on GarageBand. And I mean, hell, I think on RR stuff, he's recording most of the instruments himself, and then
absolutely
hire musicians to come out and play on the road with him and stuff. But, so it's cool that we kind of, we've reached the point in life where we kind of get to help expose these bands now, rather than just being fans. We get to put their music out there in front of people.
Absolutely, man. I love that. I love that I can help people. I think the big thing for me, like I mentioned earlier, I want my conversations and my podcast to be uplifting and helping. And I also want to help the artist, be discovered. Like you mentioned, hey, I never heard of this band. And I think that's just kind of how vital it is in 2026 podcast wise, how important it is. It's almost more important than like a Rolling Stone interview or like a spin article or whatever. I feel like now this generation's podcast is the medium for a lot of people to discover music. And of course you have Spotify and Apple Music and all those that we mentioned. But yeah, man, it's cool. It's really it's been a blessing, and I still pinch myself a lot of times when I'm talking to some people. I'm like, this is insane. I cannot believe this is happening. Having Brandon Ebel from Tooth and Nail just call me out of the blue one day and, talk to me at the Seattle Seahawks game. Like, just like, what is going on? But that type of thought. Brandon Ebel from Tooth and Nail, the owner. But man, it's cool to be able to be a part of something that is always evolving and always pushing to promote not only the artists but the bands, and just something that's influenced me and tons of other people.
Yeah, and even with podcast, I mean, there's so many out there now. You talk about trying to find an artist on Spotify, trying to find a podcast on Spotify. It's like there's so many. Everybody has a damn podcast now. We're just
Yep.
fortunate enough to, we're in a niche of enough where we've been fortunate and we've been really accepted by the cigar and pipe community and wrestling fans and that too. It's kind of what I like about your podcast is it's just real conversation. It's not, I'm sure you may have some scripted stuff, but it doesn't feel like a scripted podcast to me. It feels like you're having a genuine conversation with these people. And it's not just, hey, I want to kiss up to you because I grew up listening to your music. Now, I got to be honest with you. If I had MXPX on here, I might be doing a little kissing up because I love those guys.
Yeah, that would be amazing as well if I ever had one of those guys, which I feel like could happen at some point. And I definitely would be, like I said, sometimes I'm just like, got the chills or like, whoa, I cannot believe this is happening right now. I generally, when I get off and I've had the conversation, I have this like euphoric high at times where I'm like, this is like insane.
I feel that same way every time I hang out with the Pipe Yoda.
I love that. I love that name, by the way.
So have you ever thought about smoking a pipe and getting into that side of it, or is it just cigars?
I have a pipe, and I wanted to actually. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to shout out to two of my friends who have a fantastic store in Columbia, Tennessee called Briarworks.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yeah, dude, Pete Prevost is a homie. He's in that band Bleach. I don't know if you Tooth and Nail. And then my friend Micah Redman, who's from Jacksonville. He started creating pipes, and they discovered him, and they brought him up there, and he works there, and they both do custom pipes, and they crush it.
Yes,
so good. And so I love that place. I support them. I got a shirt and a hat from them because I absolutely love what they're doing. And I think Pete just went on a trip down to Nicaragua. I think they're trying to do like a special cigar for the stores, from what I heard.
Yeah, and they just had the Milltown Pipe Show too. Briarworks.
Yep. So I love pipes. I have one. I don't go crazy. To be honest with you, I started out with the pipe, but I hate to say this, but the work that it takes to keep it up is what really swayed me towards cigars. Like, I hate to say that, but I'm like, this is
get off my show. No, I'm kidding.
I love them. I really do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a hater. I love them. I just literally am like,
don't be a hater, be a participator.
Very true.
And now is Briarworks, are they up in the Nashville area?
Columbia. I think it's about an hour south.
Okay.
Yeah, about an hour south of Nashville.
Because
I love that place. It's so good.
Get you a jar of Briarworks. It's called I think it's called Sweet Tea pipe tobacco. Okay. And that'll be worth the work.
I believe you. I 100% believe that.
See, I'm telling you, don't be a hater. Participate.
No, I'm just on the outside looking in, and I dip my toe in every once in a while. Is basically what it boils down to. But I definitely want to try a different one.
Yeah.
He's the same way. I mean, he tries to get into it, and then all that. So but yeah, we are. I definitely. Listen, dude, I have smoked a pipe since 1986. Wow. Okay. So, and all the way through the 90s and even like the first 20 years of 2000, it was maybe 1 or 2, 3 cigars a year that I would smoke. And the rest of it would be pipe. Wow. And Sean will tell you, I smoked all the time.
Yeah.
So it was always, now if someone had one or if they say, oh, you got to try this, I'll give it a go. But now, thanks to this podcast, it's like 9 or 10 or 12 cigars like a week.
Yeah, that's right.
So, lucky you.
But listen, if because Tim Osgener and John Huber, they went up to Briarworks and they did, and I believe it was one of the Oz Heads podcasts they did with Pete at Briarworks, and he talks about being a musician and stuff prior to getting into pipes and stuff. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out, because I know Bo, I call him Bulldog Bo. He's on the Pipe and Tamper podcast with Jay Furman. He was just at the Muletown show and stuff, and I would love to get to go to that one year, because that just looks like a phenomenal pipe show that Briarworks puts on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they crush it. Whatever they do, I feel like they have such a cool aesthetic too. Like, I'm a visual guy, and I like a lot of they've kind of taken on the Coors Banquet theme, kind of logo type thing, and I think it's so cool. It looks great. The products they're putting out are fantastic. It's just the whole package. I think they do an incredible job, and I love those guys. I want to see them be so successful, and they're just awesome, great guys.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm jealous of your swag. Nothing would be cooler than a Briarworks hat, especially.
Dude, I freaking love it. I was so psyched when I got it. Pete came down here, Bleach played down here, and I was hanging out with him, and I was like, I freaking love your stuff. And I think the next day I ordered one, and he hooked me up with a discount, and it just was really sweet and kind. And yeah, man, I am a promoter at heart, and those guys, I'm probably gonna have Pete on my podcast at some point.
Do it, yeah.
We talk about it. Yeah, I would love to, because I definitely think he's got a cool story.
And I've sent the invitation out to Pete to be on Smokin Sounds, so hopefully maybe we'll be able to. I know he's a busy guy, and he was busy with Muletown and all that at the time, and then PCA is coming up, so hopefully that'll be able to make it. And I love that.
I'll put in a word for you. Oh,
thanks,
appreciate
man.
that.
I appreciate it,
because I love that their pipe tobaccos come in the old mason jar looking.
Yep.
Holders and stuff, and it's just, I love it. Like their old hickory.
That's
and
awesome.
I think they have an apple pie or a peach cobbler that just smells absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So
they crush it.
See, Justin, we were able to take the sounds back to the smoke.
I'm happy about that. Believe me. So, and honestly, and it's weird. So will this be the last episode we do before PCA?
Yes. Yeah. Because with Easter coming up, and then we've got to get ready for PCA, and we're getting our schedule I cannot believe people actually want to talk to a couple of knuckleheads from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I know.
Jeremy,
what's wrong with them?
Listen, I have had more people reach out to schedule with us. If you would, we're talking about, if you would have asked me and Justin 3 years ago when we started this, that we would be scheduling with Steve Saka and John Huber and Jonathan Drew and Rick Rodriguez and Wes Tampa and Outcast and Artista, and just to name I'm just name dropping like I'm somebody, but but it's but again, there's not a lot of outlet for them to get their names out there either, because with the advertising and tobacco and this and that, we're kind of a nice platform for them as they are for us. So it's kind of like we help each other out, and I just am so appreciative that these big brand owners recognize that, and they're not ashamed to reach out and say, hey, let's get together, let's work together.
Awesome.
And it's awesome, because at the end of the day, that's who's buying their product, is the people that listen. It's just like I'm listening to you, and I'm introduced to new artists. People listen to us and they're like, oh, I've not heard about Outcast cigars, I got to go pick one of those up. I had a gentleman, this is no joke, he is from New Zealand, and I'm going to pull his name up here because I don't want to get it wrong if I can find him. But he has really, really, really gotten into educating himself on pipe tobaccos. So on his name is Marcus, and on Instagram he is the Smokin Palmist, Psalmist. I hope I didn't pronounce that wrong, but
it's Psalmist.
Psalmist, sorry. See,
Smoking Psalmist.
Smoking Psalmist. That's why I keep looking around. But anyway, listen, he was sharing with me what the cost is to get a Missouri Meerschaum pipe and 6 ounces of pipe tobacco to New Zealand. And it is, holy smokes. We can get a Missouri Meerschaum pipe and 6 ounces of pipe tobacco for about $80 here in the States. It cost him almost $400 to get that stuff to New Zealand.
Oh my gosh. That is nuts.
Yes, it is crazy. So if anybody is listening and you have some knowledge on international shipping, please share that with us, because we would love to be able to hook him up and get him some good
send him some stuff,
pipe tobacco, some Autumn Evening or some Briarworks. So Pete, if you're listening,
if you stole a radio and you're listening to this show, well, that's what they used to say.
Yeah.
But now it's like, if you stole the phone and you're listening to this show, hook us up.
That's right.
Heck yeah.
And I mean, because it's just, we've made a lot of friends in the spirits community. We have a great friend, Jason, that runs the Dram Amateur podcast, and he just had some other friends from the Bourbon Beards and Belvedere's podcast. He had Jeremy on there, or Jerry, I'm sorry, and that was a great episode. And I mean, people, Brews and Spins on Instagram, Jimmy, the barbecue cigar smoker. These guys are just so nice to us, and awesome. what I appreciate about them is that we'll post this and we'll have all your and we'll get all your where people can find you here in just a second, but people are going to go and support the Rumors Are True podcast now because they heard about it on Smokin Sounds. And hopefully people that listen to the Rumors Are True podcast, they're going to be like, well, maybe I don't smoke cigars, but I enjoy listening to a couple of knuckleheads every now and again. So I'm going to listen to Smokin Sounds, right? And that's just how it works.
And by the way, if you do think you need a couple of smokers on your show for whatever reason that could be, don't hesitate to get a hold of us. We'll come on and, just kind of do this idiocy that we do.
Hey, but you're a drummer too, Justin's a hell of a drummer. Don't let him. Hey.
I hit him, all that.
Oh, I hit him.
Hey,
that's awesome.
Justin's perfect Saturday night is a Fat Bottom Betty and a 20-piece Tama kit.
Woo! Hell yeah. That's awesome.
He was smoking a pipe teaching Lars how to play that double bass in 86.
Oh man.
That's awesome.
I tell you what. So
Jeremy, tell everybody. We should have done this earlier. I apologize for we just got into it, but tell everybody where they can find you. With your social medias, where they can about the podcast. But tell everybody where to find you.
Yeah, so I just started a website actually last week. Ironically, it's www.therumorsartruecast.com.
Yeah.
You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music. I have an Instagram and a Facebook, and it's at The Rumors Are True Cast. And like I said, I just signed with this network, so might be on some other platforms as well soon. I don't know exactly what yet, but I'm really excited about the future, man. But yeah, www.therumorsartruecast.com is kind of where you can get all the links and that's pretty much it. I do a lot of my talking on Instagram and Facebook primarily, and of course the website.
Okay.
But yeah, you can always message me or get a hold of me on there. And yeah, man, I always like to talk tunes. So
yeah.
Well, we do too.
Put
obviously,
that in the show notes. And it's I'm so glad that our paths crossed and we were able to kind of form a friendship, is what I like to call it, is because I feel like we've been able to develop a friendship, and we'll have a lot of interest in common people that we've known in the industry and stuff like that. So it's been great meeting you and getting to and I appreciate you taking the time out on a Thursday afternoon to talk to us. It's always fun to talk to like-minded people, and it's just a bonus that you not only do you like good music, but you like good cigars too. So that just kind of the episode wrote itself.
That's awesome.
The way,
go ahead.
I generally ask our particularly people a little bit newer to cigar. So what have you found your best pairing with a cigar? Coffee, bourbon, beer, water?
Bourbon for sure. Bourbon. And I will say,
what's your good bourbon right now?
I like a lot of Four Roses, single batch. I like what else do I like? Man, I'm blanking out. Oh, Whistle Pig every once in a while.
Whistle Pig, right on.
Yeah, and then Buffalo Trace, of course, you can't go wrong with that. I just unfortunately was diagnosed as a diabetic recently, but I think it's reversible, and so I haven't really had to have much alcohol lately with my my cigars, but I'm hoping to get back to where I can. But yeah, I'm a bourbon guy, and those ones I mentioned, a couple others obviously, but yeah, I enjoy it with a cigar, and it's heaven.
Well, so as I'm diabetic myself,
I was going to say, welcome to the club.
Yeah. So Jeremy, now this is no joke. I mean, we have a good time, but this is no joke. One, nicotine lowers blood sugar, and if you have Jesus. And amen, brother. And if you don't mix anything with your bourbon, like Coke, soda, or juice,
sweeteners,
whiskey is by its very nature sugar free. So both whiskey and cigars are good for diabetics. Not like a bottle a day. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying like if you get a couple of about 2 or 3 fingers in a glass with a good cigar, you are lowering your blood sugar naturally. So just keep that in mind.
My wife just walked out, and you're telling me that drinking a little bit of bourbon and having a cigar lowers your blood sugar.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. I'm a diabetic. Right. I've researched all this stuff. And if you go look at what's in bourbon, there's no sugar in it at all. And, again, if you mix it with soda, that's another story. Mix it with juice, that's another story. But you just have a glass with I always have a bourbon with like 1 ice cube in it, just to open up the flavor. And nicotine lowers. Have you ever heard of people like they smoke a cigar and they kind of feel sick, or maybe they try cigarettes for the first time and they're like, I'm going to get sick. Okay, that's why they're getting sick, because their blood sugar is going through the floor. Okay, that's what's making them sick. So as a diabetic, our blood sugar is going through the ceiling. So at least mine is. And so so nicotine lowers blood sugar. So does THC, by the way. But whiskey is by its nature sugar free. Whiskey, vodka, gin, not beer so much, and red wine. Not white wine has sugar in it, but red wine has 0 sugar. Like pure red wine, like a Cabernet Sauvignon, has 0 sugar. You can look it up, and you'll find that these are all sugar-free options. And like me, I like to have Jack Daniels with a Coke Zero, a little Jack and Coke action, like my younger days. And I'm there. I'm there.
And if you need a note for work, just tell them Dr. O'Eagle prescribed this.
Dr. Smokin Sound.
Yeah. Hey, listen, another name. Dr. Yoda says it's sugar-free, baby.
Hey, listen, I got to ask you something, Justin, because all that damn tobacco that's in that room, you should have no blood sugar issues whatsoever, because you've got 13 different Zen pouches in your lip. You're smoking a cigar and a pipe at the same time. So, but no, all joking aside, Justin has gotten me a tube of glucose tablets to carry in my car, because stuff I don't always do a good job of eating and stuff, and his
sugar gets too low.
Yeah, that's why I have to take my shirt off on podcasts and stuff, is because my blood sugar bottoms out. But yeah, so Justin has gotten me a tube of glucose tablets for our smoking adventures, so that I'm not passed out on the floor and people think I had too much to drink. So definitely when you enjoy a cigar and a bourbon, that's good. It's good for your blood sugar.
That's awesome.
And I don't know if you're a coffee drinker, but I always drink my coffee black. So again, no sugar, but I'm still enjoying life. So hey,
Hey, and tea,
cool. God is good.
And if you drink unsweet tea, it's good for you, and it's a natural diuretic, so it helps clean your kidneys out. See, I didn't know we became a health podcast all the time.
I love tea.
There you go.
Now, listen, Milo's has an unsweet tea with Splenda in it. I'm not saying you should drink it, but you should drink it because it's really good.
Let me tell you, Lipton has a Southern sweet tea that I drink religiously, and it is so good. Has Splenda in it, and it's just wonderful.
See, you're lucky I didn't have the Zach Brown band queued up. We'd have been listening to a little Chicken Fried about some fried chicken and some tea. Now, listen, is sweet tea as big of a deal in Jacksonville as it is in Georgia?
Huge.
Okay.
It's huge.
I bet.
Yeah.
All Southern boys down there, I bet it is.
Yeah. And there was another cigar shop down there called Island Girls that I wanted to check out.
Island Girls cool. Yeah.
And Cigar Internationals has a huge location down there in Jacksonville.
Yep.
And I would love to connect you with my friend Mike Bellows. Like I said, he's got an all.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, he's got an all-electric. Not that you want to talk about cutting grass, but he's innovated this really cool all-electric lawn care company where he's got solar panels on his trailer to charge batteries and stuff when he's and it's his lawn business is booming because he's a much quieter option for when people are mowing and stuff. But he's a music guy through and through. He's one of those guys that's got more talent in his little pinky than I'll ever have in my whole body.
I totally get that.
He can just look at an instrument and know how to play it. I've always been jealous. I love you, Mike, but but I've always been jealous of him. But yeah, I would love to, because he could talk all this, because like I said, he was there in Atlanta, Marietta. He with the pterodactyl, great dog. I just think that'd be a great guy to have on your podcast.
Absolutely,
yeah,
totally be interested.
Yeah, we'll get you in touch with him, and that way you can maybe set out a time and all that.
But all right,
awesome, man.
What did we miss, Jeremy? What did we forget to ask?
Nothing, man. You guys asked it all. I really appreciate you having me on. I'm really honored to talk to you guys. I enjoyed this very much and really like what you guys do. I'll pop your podcast on every once in a while, and I enjoy your banter. You guys have good chemistry, so I just appreciate you hanging out with me and letting me talk.
Hey, listen, we appreciate, again, it's our honor to have, we love to have anybody on that wants to be on with us. And we love talking to people like you that, because yes, we love having the cigar brand owners and all that, but at the end of the day, that's what this is all about for us, is making these connections with people that we're just having a great conversation. And like I said, when we hit record, I said, hey man, just think of a couple of bands you'd like to talk about, and that was really the prep we did for the show.
Yeah, that was all the show prep we did.
And we just had a real conversation, and it just flowed like we'd practice it, and we didn't. So, thank you so much for being another tremendous guest on the podcast with us.
Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. You're awesome, and hopefully we'll get to hang out in the future.
Next time I'm in Jacksonville, we're going to Second Wind Cigar.
Let's do it.
So Joe and the guys, you better get a Smokin Sounds section ready, because we're coming. And it's funny that as we talk about, Sunny Day Real Estate has come on, and it's just been playing underneath us. I love those guys. And so Justin, what did we forget, buddy?
Okay, so I wanted to send a special shout out to Grinds coffee pouches. So by the way, they're a great deal right now. They, where you can get a metal can, like you spend so much or whatever. Just love those guys. I'm saying again, get Black Ops Wintergreen when it comes out. You if you've never had Grinds before, get that, or the Red Eye Espresso. Again, so those of you who don't know, these are Grinds coffee pouches or energy pouches. No tobacco, no nicotine, but I love them. And especially when they come out, and they should be coming out pretty soon with the Kentucky Bourbon coffee pouch. Goes great with any cigar. It's my May and June staple with them when I'm not doing Black Ops Wintergreen. Just love Grinds and what they're doing and how supportive they've been of us. So you guys keep doing your great job and bring back Black Ops.
That's right. And, we always got to say special thank you again to the guys at Ford John's Apparel. They're getting some awesome swag ready for us for PCA. They just made us a NWO inspired t-shirt. It says "Bad is back." That's right. We're the bad boys of podcasting now, Justin.
Awesome.
We're too sweet. Free jacket like that one. And again, listen, be on the lookout for those fresh boxes from Cigar Bros from Fresh Box Cigars. Cannot wait to show those off to you guys. And listen to the Rumors Are True podcast. We really appreciate Jeremy taking the time out to be on with us. And listen, if you're a music fan, and I know that you are, if you're listening to us, you're going to discover bands that you would have never discovered, and you're going to fall in love with them. And so, well, Justin, I guess with that's a wrap on this episode of Smokin Sounds. Don't forget to follow us at Smokin Sounds Pod, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss a beat. Or a draw. Hey, and if you would please leave us and Jeremy a 5-star review, it helps others find our podcast. So until next time, keep your cigars lit, your pipes packed, and the sounds smoking. Thanks, Jeremy. We appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys.
All right, we got it.
We got it, man.
All right.
Hey, I hate to bounce, but I gotta go.
I got you, brother. Thank you so much, and I'll text you. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good, buddy.
Right,
see you guys.
Later, thanks again.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.